Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Botter, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Short Box Podcast.
The Short Box Podcast is recorded live from Jacksonville, Florida.
Yo, Short Box Nation. Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for being here. If you're new to the show, welcome. This is the Short Box Podcast, the comic book talk show that brings you the best conversations about comics and pop culture inspired by them. This is episode 398, and my name is Botter, and I'm reporting to you live from Short Box HQ in sunny but muggy and rainy-ass Jacksonville, Florida. All right, I can't decide if it wants to be the sun or Portland.
And it's 105 degrees. Either way.
Yeah,
sucks.
Make a decision, damn it.
I'm hot or I'm hot and wet.
But we are soaking up the AC here in the Short Box HQ because, thanks to patrons. Thanks to all of our patrons for helping us fund and keep, the lights on and the AC on here in the Short Box HQ. As you can tell, on mic number 2 and in the studio with me is the special Edmund Danzart.
What's up? Ed? What's up, man?
And if you're watching the video version of this podcast, that third person on the screen is not a mirage. You don't have to adjust your screen. You don't even got to check your internet connection, right? That is the real deal.
Don't let the new hair fool you.
It's a little shorter than what you remember, all right? Making her triumphant return back to the podcast after a 7-month-long hiatus. Let's give it up for the return of Ashley Lanny Hoy.
I made it. I survived.
And we're gonna let the full crowd sound effect play.
Oh, thank you.
You deserve that one. Ashley, it's so good to freaking see you.
I know. It feels really good to be back, honestly.
Ed, I can't believe we got the mother of Shiloh Reese Hoy on the show, right?
AKA Orion. Yeah. I know.
Shiloh to the rest of you, Orion to the Short Box Nation, all right? If you know what Orion means, then you've been around long enough, right? Ashley, how do you want to say any words about motherhood?
Yeah.
Last time we talked, Shiloh was just a bump in your belly. It was the Christmas party.
Yes.
How's it being a new mom?
I have not slept more than 2.5 hours at a time in 6 months.
Oh, jeez.
I am constantly on the verge of a mental breakdown, but it's the best thing I've ever done.
Oh, wow. Good save.
That's
Good
awesome.
save.
But yeah, it's amazing. I don't know. It's good. As soon as that internet froze up, I was like, if this doesn't come back, I'm going to lose it.
Well, we're glad AT&T came through last minute. Actually, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very excited, how excited were you to hop on the mics to talk comic books with some nerds?
That was a 10, for real. I was very happy.
Have you had much time to read comics or go to the shop or anything? I know when we seen you at the Across the Spider-Verse private watch party, you were telling us that like it was you and Josh's first time like going to a movie since having the baby. Like, have you had time for anything else?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I got my first phone call from the comic shop my whatever 15 years of having a pull list. I got my first call that was like, "Hey, are you coming in to get this stuff?"
Oh, no.
And I was like, "I'm so sorry. That was the worst job when I worked in the shop, was to have to call people to come get their stuff." I was like, "I will be there shortly."
Oh man, the empathy. That's nice.
I know.
So it sounds like you got a pretty good reading list at least.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you can see behind me. Oh, I guess it's in the way, but on top of my computer is just a bunch of stuff that I need to read. There's like a nice little stack, and there's a couple books. I've got that new the A24 Florida book and the Game of Thrones Targaryen book, and a nice little stack of comics all just waiting for me to have some time.
That you may never have.
That's true.
Well, at least it's fun homework to look forward to. And the best part is, Ashley, we get to hang out with you today, and I think this is like a good ease back into things. You know, we're doing a short box news episode this week, ladies and gents. Our mission today is an easy one. We'll be recapping our favorite comic news and announcements from San Diego Comic-Con, which looked a lot different this year. Me and Ed were talking prior to hitting record, and we both made the joke that it's funny that, you know, comic books was the
it's like a comic
point.
Convention again.
Yeah, right. It's like,
it's crazy.
San Diego Comic. Oh, that's what that other C and C stands for, Comic-Con. All right, for those of you that might not be familiar or have been living under a rock for the past couple weeks, the ongoing Writers Guild of America and Screen Actors Guild strikes meant that a lot of actors, writers, and just key people in the movie industry weren't in attendance for San Diego Comic-Con this year. According to the strike guidelines and the rules, they technically can't be present to promote current or future projects, including anything that was originally planned for San Diego Comic-Con. So this means that a lot of movie studios, actors, and just other, like I said, key people in the industry pulled out or straight up just canceled panels that were originally scheduled. Some of these panels included, you know, showcasing new seasons of shows. I think there was that 70s show, like 25th anniversary panel that got scrapped, like things like that. Anything that involved like celebrities, actors, and writers like promoting new content and shows were scrapped or just adjusted or pivoted. It was, you know, I think in a lot of cases, trailers being played, and you know that was kind of that. There wasn't like that star power to enhance the news. But that's not to say that there wasn't like trailers or new TV projects announced. It was just missing like the usual energy and excitement that comes with like all that star power and, you know, that rabid fan base all there in the same building. I feel like Hall H, the news out of Hall H was kind of like a little more subdued this year is what I'll say. Like I was joking though, it feels like the emphasis was put back on like comic book publishers and, you know, animated shows and a lot of toy reveals. I mean, as an adult man that collects way too much plastic, it got me a little hot and sweaty. There was a lot of toy news this year. So we might not have a lot of trailers and castings to get hype about, but we damn sure still have a lot to talk about this episode.
We've got things to talk about.
So if you're looking to hear about a specific topic, check the timestamps listed in this episode's show notes. Before we take off into the main event and talk San Diego Comic-Con, I've got one announcement to share that I feel like is important that I get off at the top. Let me remind all of you that we're nearing our 400th episode. We're old, all right? We've been old. We are only getting older. And there's a sense of pride that comes with that, but also a humility and humbleness, all right? My knees don't jump up like they used to anymore. My radio voice ain't nearly as good as my young whippersnapper days. A little more bass, though. You know what I'm saying, Ed?
Yeah.
Thank you for placating that.
Oh, the alcohol.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All the smoking and drinking. A little more raspy. All right, but for our 400th episode, we're doing a big family reunion episode. If you enjoyed the idea of Ashley being back, then wait until we get Cesar back with us as well. We'll be Voltron again. Yeah, we'll be Voltron. Well, we need a fifth person, right? Maybe we can get Drew on as well. But we're hoping to do a big family reunion for the 400th. So we're inviting everyone to be a part of the big 400 by sending in a short voicemail to play. You can have your voice heard and played on the show. If that's something you've always wanted to do, here's your opportunity. Get your radio voice ready and send us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/theshortbox, or you can write us an email at theshortboxjacks 400episodes@gmail.com. Everyone that submits something for the 400th episode, whether that's an email, voicemail, or even a DM on Instagram and Twitter, will be entered in a raffle to win some comics. I've got plenty of those to give away, so don't wait too long. All right, check the announcement section of this episode's show notes for those links and details. Get involved. All right, now that we've got that out the way, let's talk San Diego Comic-Con. I guess before we get into the specific topics, what was your general reception to the convention this year? Did you guys feel it was different? Did you notice how was the feeling towards it, Ed?
It seemed very low key, with the strike going on and all that, and just all the people pulling out, studios pulling out. It definitely, there was still the excitement, of course, because it's a big event, but it was missing a lot of that, star power and the big reveals. But there was a lot of cool stuff. Not saying there's nothing newsworthy or anything good, but it just seemed kind of it's kind of chill, really laid back, probably, man, this is the one I would have wanted to go to. Can walk around,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I'm sure it's packed because it's just become such an event, but it's definitely, I'm sure it's a lot more, your typical convention goers, you know what I'm saying? So
instead of 250,000 people crammed in one place, it's 200.
Yeah, exactly. It makes a difference.
I think chill is a great word from the outside looking in. Obviously, none of us attended, so a lot of this is secondhand. But from the perspective of someone that was looking for exciting headlines or just researching what was announced, it definitely wasn't as easy to find things that stood out. I feel in prior years, there's always those main things that
surprises
you kind of gravitate towards. Yeah, special casting announcements. It was surprising as hell not to see a headline that was MCU trailer at San Diego Comic-Con or, Hall H special announcement. It's weird.
Someone's crappy cell phone footage sideways. Let's try to check it out.
Where was the 480p video footage of the Secret Wars trailer, right? Me and Drew were hanging out prior to us recording, and I was like, hey, let's, and we do this almost every year. We'll link up on Sunday when all of the stuff should be on YouTube, and we'll just watch all the different trailers, all the different things announced, and it was slim pickings this year. There wasn't anything for us to, no major things to gravitate towards. Yo, this is Botter. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, Y-O-O. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And did I mention that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material? None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show.
I mean, I think I'm with Ed. If I was going to go any year, this would have been the year. Because, I mean, it's when you can actually get into the panels.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about those Avengers, Hall H panels that people would wait. They'd sit outside for 10 hours to get into. And it just seems more like Heroes is my favorite convention ever. And so this kind of felt more like that. But I have a friend there, and he posted a picture of the concession stand prices, and a bottle of water is $13.
Oh.
They're definitely still at that price point. There's, stars there.
Robert Downey Jr.'s here. This water's got to be $20. I wonder how much beer is compared to water, because I remember going to, sorry for this, but I remember going to an Ozfest, and beer was cheaper than water.
Oh, no.
Guess what? A bunch of people in black and chains and spikes decided to drink beer in the blazing hot sun during a summer outdoor concert. So they were drinking beer, so passing out left and right. There was metal people just falling.
That's hilarious. I was thinking today that it's been, we've been doing this pod for going on 11 years this year, and I think it's ridiculous. Well, real quick, has either of you been to San Diego Comic-Con? I don't want to assume.
No.
It's a safe assumption, though, right? Okay, neither have I.
$13 water.
Yeah, I mean, hearing that kind of changed my attitude. Prior, I was like, I need to go next year. I need to make this happen. But can I afford it? You know what? Actually, that is a good segue. We couldn't be on the convention floor to experience, like the vibe and the atmosphere this year firsthand. So I thought I'd call in reinforcements. All right, I love finding. I guess I can't be making a joke about free labor with all these strikes going on, but I love getting like the short
field
box.
Reporters, highly compensated field reporter, man on the street.
Exactly. So I decided to, however we're going to spin this tasteless joke right now. I decided to reach out to some friends of the short box and ask them who were there at San Diego Comic-Con to kind of chime in into the convo and tell us what it was like this year from like a firsthand perspective. So I reached out to LaTwan Holland from the Direct Edition podcast and the Comic Book Keepers to chime into the conversation today. And I wanted to play LaTwan's voicemail first, and we'll play the Comic Book Keepers later. But just to set things off, I think it's a good start. Here's LaTwan.
All right, so I haven't been to San Diego Comic-Con in over 5 years, and returning this week reminded me why I love going to conventions. If you're a fan of any pop culture or nerd genre, then this is the greatest amount of crazy that you want in your life. Imagine being in a ginormous room with every bit of nerd paraphernalia you could ever want, and then plenty more you didn't know you wanted. It's a true test of your willpower and your wallet. Like some of the favorite moments from that I had here, I was able to sneak into a special screening of the new DC animated film, Justice League War World. And since I'm a huge X-Men fan, it was cool that they made the announcement, a new X-Men premiering 2024. One of the best products that I liked was seeing Hasbro premiere the King Daredevil action figure that comes off of Mark Cicchetto's Daredevil storyline. Huge fan of his as well. So just in a nutshell, it's been great. So remember, live your best geek life, play games, read comics, watch anime, geek responsibly. Peace.
Geek responsibly and being at San Diego Comic-Con almost sounds like a conflict of interest right there. But I love hearing from LaTwan, and it sounds like he did it right. He attended a private screening for that new Justice League War World movie and sat in on some X-Men panels revealing teasing some upcoming series. So sounds like a good time. And if LaTwan is saying that it's one of what did he say? It's the crazy that you need in your life.
Yeah,
I think you got to go in knowing I need to take a new mortgage loan out, but I'm gonna be in the epicenter of comic book and nerd shit that we all love. So big shout out to LaTwan from the Direct Edition for kicking us off on that. Like I said, we'll play the Comic Book Keepers. They sent in something that was really good too. Ashley, do you mind kicking off our coverage today? You wanted to start with one of the few trailers that was shared and whatnot at the event this year. I won't steal your thunder. Go ahead and toss it up. What's the first topic for today?
So I wanted to talk about the Marvels trailer that just came out. So Carol Danvers, there's nothing particularly interesting about her to me. She's kind of like a Superman Vision sort of character. I just feel like they're kind of vanilla. There's nothing that really stands out. But I think putting her with Kamala Khan and, Captain Monica Rambeau, I just think that this little trifecta of characters is going to be just a really fun buddy movie. And then Goose is back. So yes. I'm excited to see Goose. I just think it's going to be better than the first movie, just livelier. I wasn't really familiar with the villain, Dar Ben, so I had to do a little research. Just looks like fun, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy fun.
I don't like you comparing it to a buddy cop movie. Well, like a trifecta buddy cop movie. The two seasoned like pros kind of button heads with Monica and Carol Danvers, and you got like the star-studded, wide-eyed like youngster and Kamala Khan, like to add in like some of that chemistry. I'm right there with you. And to be fully honest, I have not watched the Miss Marvel series on Disney Plus. I'm kind of hoping like this movie will entice me to like go back and watch that. I don't know, Aman Vellani, I think that's how you say your name, the actress that plays Kamala Khan. She's kind of like the center of attention in this trailer. Like, am I crazy for thinking that?
No, I think she's going to be the breakout star for this, for sure.
Like, and I like Tiana Parrish too. Like her portrayal of Monica and like her butting heads with Carol Danvers. I kind of like that friction going on there. Ashley, are you familiar with like Kamala Khan? Did you watch the Disney Plus series?
Yeah, so when the series first came out, I was really into it. It was super great series. G. Willow Wilson wrote it for a long time, and I loved it. And then I did watch the Disney Plus show. I feel like it was meant for like a younger crowd, so I definitely felt that. But man, the girl that played Miss Marvel, how did you say it was? Aman Vellani? She is so charismatic. Like, even if you didn't like the show, like, she is just super charismatic. I think she's going to be great in this movie.
Yeah. Like the comic book synergy. Sorry for being cringy. Going on with like the character, and now like Aman Vellani having a direct hand in like the new Miss Marvel comic series. I don't know. There's something interesting about that, like how that's lining up. And granted, it could be a case of, you know, them just slapping her name on the book to sell. It would make sense, right, to like boost up the character in the comics, align it with the movie. But the attention that she's getting is, and the way that she's handling it, I don't know. Actually, very good word. She's charismatic. There's something about like her that you're like, yeah, I want you to win. Like, I think you're going to grow into this character. And if they keep this character in all the future MCU stuff, she would be one to like watch out for. I guess, what have you mentioned that you didn't know much about the protagonist in this movie, which is played by Zawe Ashton. She's playing Dar Bin in the movie, The Marvels. And I think she's related to Ronin the Accuser. She takes up the mantle. Like, what did you learn about the protagonist?
Just that she uses his, I think it's called the Cosmo Rod. No, it's got to have a cooler name than that.
Is it a rod? I mean, she's got the hammer. I think, isn't it the Executioner's hammer or something like that?
I'm trying to think.
Ashley, you are 100% right. It is called the Cosmo Rod.
My Cosmo Rod.
Is the Cosmo Rod? Okay.
I'll smite you.
It's an interesting name for a hammer, but all right. Rod. Okay.
Well, it's an alien race.
Damn, Ashley's like, different. I might have been gone for 7 months from the show, by but that doesn't mean I don't know my Marvel Easter egg weaponry. That's funny. So she's kind of like a Ronin the Accuser kind of villain, I guess, or like a analog.
Yeah, and she's got that. The only part of the trailer I didn't like is like that line where she's like, "You took everything from me." I'm like, how many times have we heard that?
Oh boy,
you're gonna keep hearing it until they stop taking everything away from these villains.
Everything. Was it really everything though?
Exactly.
Granted, it was probably a lot of things, but not everything. Not everything.
I'm curious if she's going to be like a one and done villain. If it's going to, this same movie, the whole Marvel villain curse that they've got going on is going to play here. From the trailers, I would bank on her maybe not having more than one movie cameo, but maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. If anything, I think I'm going to go watch this movie for Kamala Khan and probably just her for the most part. Ashley, have you had a chance to watch Secret Invasion at all?
Oh, I've only watched the first episode.
Okay.
But I really like it. I had no idea it was even going to come out. I just went on Disney Plus and I was like, oh God, Secret Invasion.
And so you're saying in motherhood, everything is a surprise, even when it comes out. You're like,
everything. Shit. I was so excited. I didn't know, I was like, oh, Khaleesi's in this? Are you kidding me?
Oh.
That's right. All right, good stuff. Thanks for kicking it off, Ashley. All right, speaking of trailers, like me and Ed were saying, it's not that this year's San Diego Comic-Con was void of any live action trailers. It's just that there wasn't the star power there in the panels to boost the hype and things like that. But this next one didn't, regardless if there was going to be a panel or not, for a lot of fans of this particular property, there didn't need to be no star power. The trailer was enough. Ed, tell us about your topic.
It's been over 2 years, but Invincible season 2 is finally coming out. 8 new episodes. November 3rd, they're dropping 4. The second half of the season, it's to be determined. I'm not sure if this is a strike related issue or not, but they released a trailer, and they also released a pretty much, it's almost an hour-long episode of I would call it like an episode 0 of basically Adam Eve's kind of origin story. But like I said, it's going to be eight episodes. I believe they're going to be an hour a piece. And what they were really hammering home on this trailer is they're going to have like 24 new voice actors with it. And they were really that was like one of the big features they were really focusing on. Like you have like Leah Thompson, Ben Schwartz, Callista Flockhart, Tatiana Manzlani, Ben Schwartz. So it's a pretty
Sterling K. Brown. Let's not
Sterling
forget about
K.
the man.
Brown, Angstrom Levy. He's going to be the main bad guy in season 2. It's super stacked.
Ashley, I don't know if you got a chance to see the Invincible season 2 teaser trailer, but about 40% of it is just names flashing on the screen of voice actors. Have you watched any Invincible episodes?
Yeah, I watched the first season. I really liked it, and I looked through the list of who's going to be in the second season.
Any standout names for you?
Callista Flockhart, like where's she been?
Ally McBeal herself.
I know, right?
Miss Harrison Ford. Are they still married?
Yeah. So Ed, you were saying they're dropping this as a 2-part phase release, right?
Yeah, it's like 2 halves. So I think from what I've read, it looks like they're just going to drop those first 4 episodes right off the bat, and then it's kind of a to be determined early 2024 is what I've read as far as the second 4 episodes. But I think there was I think we read the same article, but Kirkman was saying the delay was because they are phasing out the CG elements of this. So I guess it'll have a more consistent look overall. And he said that's part of the reason why there was such a delay between seasons. And he also added that going forward, which is good to hear, that there'll be less time in between seasons because they straighten this out. So there's a lot of behind the scenes, I guess, technical issues that they were hammering out. So that's pretty awesome. The CG stuff I don't remember it being that jarring to me.
I think during the last battle or the last episode when Mark, last or second to last, but when he's fighting his dad Omni-Man, and I think the different background sceneries might have been a little CG or something like that. But to your point, I didn't know it was like that big of an issue where it could take up
I don't even
time.
recall people even bitching about that. They bitch about everything.
Dude, yeah, exactly. That wasn't top of mind for most people.
Yeah, so like I said, really excited, and it's cool they dropped this Adam Eve episode, which is fantastic. And like I said, just kind of the few things from the trailer. It's like now Mark is graduated high school. Immortal is back again. Probably get killed by Mark this season. Like I said, Doc Seismic is back, so it's looks like it's going to be pretty cool. And then Nolan does a pretty cold one-liner at the end. It's different enough from the book where I'm super excited. Even if it was page by page, I would still be excited. But they've kind of shuffled things around story-wise, plot-wise, that you're like, oh man, what are they going to do? What are they going to skip? What are they going to move forward?
It keeps it fresh for people that have read the entire 144 issues, because they introduce certain characters a little earlier and they condense certain story arcs and keep you on your toes. Yeah. I'll also say, man, when it comes to Invincible, they're like pretty open and honest with like the delays and incorporating that into the marketing. Like the poster that they put out for season 2 was really cool. Like them being on a bus and it's Invincible, almost there. I like that they keep kind of.
Oh, they had him in. Is it Al eating the hamburger at the diner?
So the teaser trailer where they kind of address in a cool way, why it's been taking so long. And essentially, like you said, it comes down to like
a lot of people drawing this stuff, man.
Yeah, I don't know, the production and quality. In hindsight, you're like, man, it's been 2.5 years since like the season finale. It feels like yesterday. I cannot believe like how long it's been.
It's crazy.
But then you're in the moment. We're here now, and it's like, okay, I don't got that much longer to wait, and it's going to be worth it. I love what Kirkman said in the same article when he's talking about like the time in between this new season and season 3 and how it's going to be like that much quicker. He said, I can't wait until people are like, when is season 3? So what if season 2 comes out and it's like season 3 tomorrow, next week, season 2 finale next Monday, season 3. All right, so once again, the first half of Invincible Season 2 drops on November 3rd, with the second half to be announced later in 2024. I'm going to go ahead and follow up with that story and talk about keeping it on animated shows. At this year's San Diego Comic-Con, DC announced that they were doing 2 more animated movies of these small little comic book series that you might have heard of. Crisis on Infinite Earths and Watchmen animated. So they're doing 2 animated movies, one on Crisis on Infinite Earths that'll follow pretty much directly the infamous 1980s comic book crossover event. So it'll be about Anti-Monitor trying to destroy all the different universes in DC and all the different heroes of the different realities banding together, which is great timing, right, for a story like that. Great timing, but also surprising. You would think by now we'd have Crisis on Infinite Earths, but it's like, well, damn, good timing on your part. Like, multiverse and alternate realities being like a hot thing and, comic book shows and
come
whatnot.
in the mainstream.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, cool. That's a great story arc. And then Watchmen, we obviously we've got the film adaptation by Zack Snyder, but now we're getting an animated movie. And that's another one you're like, wow, we haven't had one before,
Yeah.
I mean, we did get the animated. What was the backup animated movie in Watchmen? Wasn't it the
Was it the Black Terror? The pirate story?
The pirate story. Yeah. So it's not like we haven't had Watchmen in animated form, but this is going to be like the original source material done in this new DC animated fashion. And Latuan had mentioned in his voicemail that he was there watching a exclusive screening of DC Universe's latest animated movie, War World, which actually comes out the Tuesday this episode comes out. So by the time this episode is out, War World is already out. And I watched the trailer for that, and it looks like I don't know if it's 2 separate movies in one or exactly the plot, but you've got like the Justice League proper team, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. There's one aspect of it where they're on War World, where Mongrel's home planet, like in the whole gladiator fight kind of scape trope. But then you've also got like different versions of themselves playing out as well. So Wonder Woman is like a cowboy in a universe. Clark Kent is like this pulpy noir reporter, and his scenes take place in black and white. And then Batman is like a caveman. So it's like, I think they're doing sprinkling a little bit of Spider-Verse. Yeah, I think they're sprinkling a little bit of like multiverse storytelling into this. I admittedly haven't watched all of the DC animated movies, but this is Crisis on Infinite Earths and Watchmen. Like those are ones that I will definitely make time for. So it was cool to see like DC animated stuff is still going strong. They're still looking at like comic books as a source material and adapting some of these iconic stories for the small screen.
Yeah, they want to sell those hardcovers. These new editions are gonna $50 they're gonna put out. And yeah, it's like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you think Alan Moore is ever gonna get on board?
I was gonna say they're just trying to make his head explode. No, he's not.
On the topic of Alan Moore, I was looking at this month's previews catalog. In the Marvel previews, they've got a solicitation for Marvel Man, right? That's the name? Marvel Man? Yeah. They got a solicitation for the collected edition of Marvel Man, like the original issues by like Alan Moore and like those earlier issues. It lists the writer's section or the creative team. It just says the original creative team. And I think it's because of that like pending lawsuit.
Yeah. Because I have Miracle Man.
And it just says like
and
original writer.
Yeah. It basically does not have his name in it because and it was one of those things where I was like trying to get the Alan Moore ones, but I wasn't sure because they would never put his name on it. And I didn't know that was part of the lawsuit. It was just called The Writer or something like really generic. So, but yeah, I do have the Miracle Man. They did a hardcovers a few years ago when all the rights finally got settled to Marvel. And yeah, he doesn't even want his name in the reprints.
I wonder what they're going to have him listed for these animated movies.
Well, it's weird because I don't think he's...
Guy with long beard.
I think he's cut off of royalties, so he doesn't give a shit either way. It's not like he's losing or gaining any money,
They're going to credit him as like a cranky old wizard.
They'll see a cranky wizard and Dave Gibbons. I'll take it. I'll take that money.
Ashley, what's been the last DC animated cartoon or movie you've watched?
I just finished what was the most recent season of the Harley Quinn? 3, maybe?
3? Yeah.
Everything's a blur.
Yeah.
It's a blur. But yeah, that was the last thing that I watched.
Actually,
season 4 is coming out.
Season 4 comes out.
Okay.
By the time this episode comes out, season 4 of Harley Quinn will have debuted as well. Debuts
Nice.
July 27th. Oh, thanks, Ashley. You managed to work in an extra topic.
I didn't hear anything about that. I'm surprised they didn't. Well, I guess no one was there. No one's at San Diego Comic-Con.
I got one more item to share that piqued my interest. It's some news about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But before I share that, I want to play the other voicemail that was recorded by Chris and Lance of the Comic Book Keepers podcast. It's a little long, but they go into detail of what it's like, and I want everyone to hear this.
Yo, Short Box Nation. This is Lance from the Comic Book Keepers.
This is Jeremy from the Geekly Grind.
And we are here to talk about our experience at San Diego Comic-Con. We're literally outside of the convention hall right now on day 2.
Day 2.
And we were asked by Botter to share our experience as well as like our favorite item we've got so far from the con. So Jeremy, what's your experience been like so far?
It's been a blast. Yesterday, I think we both were saying how it just felt like a super long day. Felt like we had so much stuff to look at, explore, and enjoy. And at the end of the day, it felt like we went through the whole con, but it was only day 1. So for me, I've just been really enjoying a chance to connect with the creators. Obviously, a little bit different vibe this year. We don't have big Hall H panels. We don't have a lot of those AAA studios here or big properties. But I think ultimately it's leading people into those smaller panels. It's leading people into exploring more of the content that makes Comic-Con great. So I think it's been a lot of fun so far.
I've seen way more people at the smaller booths this year than anything else. Another weird thing is way less cosplayers than I feel like there normally are, which is really interesting. But yeah, like getting into those small booths, finding the exclusives, that's been really a hunt. We did get to go to the TMNT Mutant Mayhem Hall H panel, which was great. Super excited to see that movie. Got to see about 25 minutes of the film. Everyone's going to love it. A little bit different with the Splinter origin, but people are still going to really love this movie. Lots of heart. My favorite item that I've acquired so far is definitely the Transformers Ash Can by Daniel Warren Johnson. Super excited. If you have enjoyed his Do a Power Bomb, you are going to very much enjoy the art that is inside of those pages of this Ash Can. How about you, Jeremy?
For me, I was really, really excited to see the Tradmore Invincible exclusive from Skybound. I am a huge Tradmore fan. Love the work he did with Silver Surfer. His work on Fall Sunrise is absolutely breathtaking, and so it was just really great to see that cover, and so I'm glad I was able to pick it up yesterday.
So, Botter, thanks again for asking us to join in for this episode. Hope you have a great rest of the show, and I hope you've enjoyed the sounds of Comic-Con around us as we've recorded. Take care, guys.
I love the Nat sound. I mean, I felt like I was at San Diego Comic-Con. Big shout outs to Chris and Lance of the Comic Book Keepers podcast. That was excellent on-site reporting right there.
Yeah, how about I know it's not exclusively Comic-Con, but Robert Kirkman getting that Transformers license for Skybound and G.I. Joe?
That is some big boy
and Daniel
moves
Warren
right there.
Johnson doing Transformers, which I would never in a million years have paired those two together. And he just won an Eisner for Do a Powerbomb.
Oh, excellent.
So
well deserved.
he's on a roll.
Yeah, he's killing it. I feel like Daniel Warren Johnson can just walk into any publisher's office and be like, I want to draw this. And they were going to move Mountain and Earth.
They have to do wrestling moves. Otherwise, I'm out. So you're going to see Optimus Prime like suplex Megatron or something.
All right. I got one more topic to share that definitely piqued my interest. And I know that you guys will probably resonate with this too. But IDW at San Diego Comic-Con confirmed that we're getting a sequel to The Last Ronin. It's going to be called TMNT The Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution. And the first issue comes out this year. It comes out December 13th. It's going to, I don't think they mentioned if it's going to be like how many issues. I imagine it's going to be another limited run. But yeah, so they're following up to that best-selling comic book. And when I say best-selling, Last Ronin was like a New York Times bestseller. It was a hit. You know, in short, it was a massive hit. I feel like just this year we were covering that, you know, a video game was announced for it, like a God of War style video game.
Action figures?
Yeah, action figures have been insane.
And there is a series, The Lost Years, that's out now.
That's right. Yeah. So you got the Lost Years series, which is kind of like the B-sides to the main story. But now we've got a confirmed sequel comic book. It's going to have the original creative team. So you're going to have writers Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz collaborating again with the original art crew. They've got a couple of covers out there that look awesome. They're saying that in this series, though, that it's going to follow 4 new turtles. Yi, Uno, Odin and Moha or Moja. I'm not sure how you say that one, but this is supposed to be like the next generation of turtles. They finally have come to age. Their sensei is Casey Marie Jones, who's the daughter of April and Casey Jones. Casey Jones having passed away in the last Ronin series. So it'll be following these 4 new turtles getting trained by Casey in this kind of war-torn city. How do you guys feel about like a sequel, or is this like a property you would have been fine with it being one and done?
I'm kind of in the middle, and like I said, it's hard for me to get on board with none of the original characters, like in a series, you know. And I thought the way it ended, like Last Ronin ended, that was like picture perfect ending, just like a nice and like a hint of what's to come. But
I kind of liked it being left on that cliffhanger. Yeah, well, not cliffhanger, but you know, like,
it's just kind of like a hopeful note, like at the end.
Yeah, well said.
But I don't know. I have to see it. You know, I do like the Casey character, but now that it's this far removed from any of the stuff that I grew up on, because I'm a big fan, it's a little tough. But I'll definitely check it out. And Kevin Eastman's involved, so that kind of gives me some it's like a little optimism about it.
I guess the bar is set really high. From Last Ronin 1, I don't want a bad sequel to like tarnish like the line already. If this was any other pair of creators, you would be a little bit like, oh man, we're already getting a sequel and it's not even about like the main characters, you know. But it's like it's Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, like the masters of franchising. Like they kind of invented this franchising shit, right? About like just commoditizing. Yeah. Is that the phrase I'm thinking of? Is commoditizing the phrase I'm thinking of? You know what I'm saying? They are like masters of like franchising and just making sequels and follow-ups to like the Turtles. Like they've built such a massive universe. I guess I'm not surprised that, the sequel was announced with a whole new cast.
Yeah, the smart thing is they've kept involved because they sold these rights a long time ago. But the smart thing Peter Laird has done was he kept the publishing rights. So he can publish the comics. So they can do totally off the wall, because I don't think if like Nickelodeon completely owned 100% of the rights, or Paramount, I don't think they would be down for a rated R Turtles story, like Last Ronin. So that's cool. They still have some creativity in it, and they still have some, say or they're at least consulting in like the mainstream stuff. Probably they're the smartest people to kind of hold on tangentially to the thing they created and still give a shit after having more money than God. It's like, I'd be gone, you wouldn't see me again.
Sidebar, I want to go and congratulate Shiloh for making his short box debut in the background.
Can
what up,
you
Shiloh?
hear him? Oh,
yeah, but it's cute. It's fine, Ashley. It sounds it's
okay.
Really cute.
He doesn't care for the show. That's fine.
No. I'd like to think
he's cheering us?
Shiloh heard, his mom is back on the show and he's rooting for her right now. All right. He's screaming a little bit. He's excited about the new Last Ronin sequel. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, that must be it. I saw my little audio bar wasn't popping up, so I was like, God, maybe they can't hear it, because I sure can.
You're good, Ashley. Ashley, any thoughts on that you want to share about Last Ronin or this particular announcement with the sequel?
No, I mean, I never really read it. It like didn't stay in the comic shop ever. So it wasn't like something that I would ever be able to pick up because it sold so fast. So, but I mean, the people making it, it's like their child, you know what I mean? Like they love it, and you can tell like they're not going to phone it in. I think it's going to be good.
Wow, that was very well said. And the fact that we've been making jokes about, or we've been talking about your newfound motherly role, like that was even more sentimentally sweet.
Cares as much about her child as Kevin Eastman does about the Turtles. We can put that comparison there.
Actually, have you read, do you have any plans to read, maybe not now, but maybe in the immediate future, any plans to read like comic books to Shiloh for bedtime?
Oh.
Yeah, as soon as he gets to the point where he can't just rip them apart. You know what I mean? I don't want any of my stuff just torn to shreds.
Have you thought about, and call me a complete jackass if you want, but the fact that he can't remember anything right now, have you thought about just reading the most crazy, wildest, violent shit in front of him?
Oh my God.
Let's read Watchmen together, little baby. I better put him to sleep at least.
That's true. I mean, I've learned pretty quick that like with the TV stuff, like I could only watch whatever I wanted on the TV for maybe 2 months. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, he's scared of yellow jackets. He does not like this show.
Huh.
All right. The last Ronin sequel is the last headline that we'll be talking about today. Like I said, not so much slim pickings as much as it was maybe a more subdued, chill San Diego Comic-Con. And I feel like with the inclusion of Latuan and Chris and Lance's perspective, we pretty much covered what we needed to cover for this episode. I want to go ahead and shift gears into our next topic. I want to look at the new comics hitting shops next month. So let's move into our next segment. Let's grab a fistful of comics.
You can either have a mouthful of teeth or a fistful of comics.
Fistful of Comics is a segment dedicated to helping all you comic curious newbies and loyal Wednesday warriors take your comic shopping experience to the next level by helping you find the best new comics and starting points you can't afford to miss. And since we work smarter, not harder here on the show, we called on the assistance of a man that takes pride in taking comics to the limit. I'm talking about Ben Kingsbury, the owner of Gotham City Limit, Jacksonville's premier comic shop. Well, it just dawned on me how many what did you call it, Ed? Well-compensated, contracted field reporters we got on the show. Ben being like the most regular one. But Ben has done all of the hard work in compiling this week's list of top 3 new comics. Let's get the music going and see what he's got for us today. All right, Ben's coming out the gate on his best Mad Money with Jim Cramer impersonation. He's got some hot comic stock tips for anyone that's looking to strike it rich with a collector's item that may or may not be worth anything a week later. So let's go ahead and cue up his first pick. Here it is for you.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Short Box listener. I'm Ben K, representing Gotham City Limit, Jacksonville, Florida. And it's time to take it to the limit. First up, it's official. The last Inhuman is dead and coming back to life as, drumroll please, the New Mutant. Miss Marvel, the New Mutant, #1, presented by Marvel Comics. That's right, Kamala Khan is back. And with the sweet new X-Men suit, which, by the way, will be debuting on a variant cover of Amazing Spider-Man 31, hint, and inside the Hellfire Gala #1, hint, hint. However, her ongoing adventure begins here. Backed by Krakoan resurrection technology, Kamala is thrown right into the middle of the fall of X. Bonus points, Miss Marvel actress Iman Vellani is making her debut as a co-writer for this book. Bonus points, the Art Germ variant is going to sell out quickly. Make sure you secure yourself a copy.
I couldn't even keep track of all the hints that Ben was trying to give us. I guess all you need to know is go pick up Miss Marvel, the New Mutant #1, which debuts in comic shops on August 30th. It sounds like she's going to get a new suit. You've got the inclusion of Iman Vellani on the writing team as well. It comes out right before the Marvel's movie as well. So good little timing on their part. The next one on Ben's list, this is pick #2, and this is for anyone that was a big fan of Colin Farrell's portrayal of Penguin in the Batman. If you want more of that gritty street style Penguin, which I don't know how many people are out there like, you know what, I want a new Penguin series. But if you're one of those few people, this next pick is for you. Here's Ben to tell you all about it.
Speaking of the recently deceased, next up is Penguin #1, presented by DC Comics. If you want to see how the Penguin faked his own death and blamed it on Batman, make sure you pick up a copy of Penguin Zero. But back to Penguin #1. Have you ever thought to yourself, Oswald Cobblepot would be a great informant for the U.S. intelligence community? Yeah, neither have I. However, that appears where award-winning writer Tom King is going to remind us all, revenge is for the birds.
Oh, wow, that was the ending. Wow, that was a really... Ben ended on a pun. That was too funny. All right. That was The Penguin #1 is being written by Tom King with art by Rafael de la Torre from the Daredevil fame. I've got this cover pulled up. It is the cover F. It is by Nathan Zerdy, I think is how you say it. And this cover is insane. If you, I highly advise you check out the preview link in the show notes if you want to see this cover. All I gotta say is I've never seen the Penguin look more gangster than a straight out of Gotham tattoo. That is wild. This next pick, I gotta say, Ashley, it looks right up your alley. You gotta take a look at it and tell me. But this one comes from Vault Comics. This is Ben's third pick on his list. Here he is.
And last but not least, Vault Comics presents Unnatural Order #1. Co-creator of Marvel's X-23, Chris Yost, returns to comics to weave together this dark fantasy and action-packed sci-fi. Set after a Roman invasion, the captive only known as the Druid is released on the world. However, there is a secret. This is not how the world is supposed to be. Unnatural Order. Sounds title accurate to me. Well, another week has come and gone, and I'm still Ben K, representing Gotham City Limit in Jacksonville, Florida. Whatever you do today, do what I do, and take it to the limit.
Good picks this week, Ben. All right, so once again, that was Unnatural Order #1 that comes out August 30th, so the same day as the Miss Marvel New Mutant #1, and we had the Penguin #1 that'll come out August 22nd. I got links to all of these in the show notes if you want to take a look at any previews or whatnot, but I highly advise if any of these pique your interest, go to your local comic shop, get your pre-orders in now. You only got like a week left for the final order cutoff. Ashley, Ed, of those three options, which one piques your interest?
I see, it's so hard because all three of these, I'm like super interested in the authors. Usually it's the artwork, but all three of these, like, I just want to like read what these authors are going to do with it. I think I'm gonna go with the Penguin because Tom King has never done me wrong.
I'm a co-sign with you on that one. I joked about people being excited for a Penguin limited series, but when you have Tom King attached to it, it's like, yeah, I'm going to be hype about that. We'll see how this one goes. He's got my money on this. And it's Rafael De La Torre doing the artwork, and his stuff was fantastic in that Daredevil run. That's what I'm familiar with. So I know it's going to be like gritty, and I think he's going to capture like that crime and noir style that Tom King is already really good at. Ed, what about you, man? Which one gets your vote?
I'm gonna have to disagree.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go with Unnatural Order #1. Vault. I've been really digging what they've been putting out. Barbaric was one of my favorite books to come out the last few years.
Okay.
And as much as I like Tom King, it still doesn't make me interested in a Penguin 12-issue series.
Hater.
It's not
Sounds
Miracle
like
Man.
right there.
It's not Adam Strange. It's
You're like, it's a fucking bird.
Yeah, bird. No, I'm sure it'll be cool. I'm sure, like I said, I might pick it up just out of curiosity, but Unnatural Order is more up my alley.
Would you say, what's your least favorite Batman villain? Would you say Penguin?
No, probably the Scarface. The dummy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't like him neither. He makes me feel weird about owning toys. All right. I'm going to say, I think my least
Clock King.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, those two are pretty crappy.
It's like fuck time. I don't want to be reminded about it from a villain. I think Calendar Man is kind of corny.
Pretty whacked.
Yeah, Calendar Man's pretty corny. That's my pick. Ashley, what about you? Least favorite Batman villain?
I don't know. I mean,
Condiment King?
There's Condiment King. There's so many that are just like who is the there was like not a blanket guy. There's like a quilt guy.
Oh, there is a quilt guy.
There was like a quilt guy that I was like, what is this?
Quilt Man Batman. Let's see what pulls up. Crazy Quilt is his
Crazy
name.
Crazy.
Oh.
What is this dude's power? Hold on. Let's take a
What
quick
does
little
he
detour.
do?
I just remember reading a book and being like, is this for real? Like, are they messing with me?
It was the one time you're like, all right, comic books is taking
It's the one
too
time
far.
Batman killed somebody. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to break his neck.
All right. According to BatmanFandom.com, Paul Decker, a.k.a. Crazy Quilt, is an enemy of Batman. He was a painter who was driven insane, causing him to commit crimes themed around colors and quilts. In the New 52, he was reimagined as a deranged, mad geneticist artist named Dr. Paul Decker, who was obsessed with studying immortality, leading him to quilt life in unnatural and horrific ways. What the hell does quilt life mean?
Oh.
Yeah, actually, you might win. I think this was...
Is that like one of those live, laugh, love things? Quilt life? Like white women put in their living rooms?
I think, you know what? I think I hate Crazy Quilt way more than Calendar Man.
That's a good one. What a deep cut.
Damn, Ashley came out the gate.
Crazy quilt.
I remember weird things. I have a horrible memory, but certain things just stick out.
All right. Once again, Ben's new comic picks for the week was Miss Marvel, the New Mutant #1, The Penguin #1, and Unnatural Order #1. And if you're keeping score at home, that was 2 votes for The Penguin #1 and Unnatural Order #1. But I don't think you could go wrong with picking either of these up. And most important, remember, even if you don't live in Jax, you can still take it to the limit by visiting GothamCityLimit.com, where you can find exclusive comics. You can shop for variant covers that you won't find anywhere else, and a whole bunch of other stuff. GothamCityLimit.com. Next up, we're going to talk some more about San Diego Comic-Con. There was a few topics and announcements that we wanted to shave for Champion Season, and that's what we're going to do. But first, we're going to take a quick music break before we go any further. I want to refill my water before we get going. So stay tuned for more. We'll be right back. Yo, and we are back. During music break, Ashley informed us that she motherhood is calling, all right? She had to go take care of the baby.
Baby's crying.
Yeah, baby's crying. She had to go take care of him. So we wanted her for the whole show, but you know what? I'm more than happy that we got her for the hour. Big shout outs to Ashley for hanging out with us as long as she could. She'll be back for the 400th episode. Sounds hopefully in person at that. It sounds like that'll depend, but it's just me and Ed to continue the rest. And I feel like, Ed, this has kind of become like a thing, right? Me and you wrapping up the second half of the show. Short, Champion Season a little shorter. It's a little easier to edit this half of the show and post. So I'm not too mad at that. All right. So before we get to Champion Season, Ed, I did want to read. We did get one email today. This one is from Captain Bruce Squid, our new guy, our new patron, our new fan. He sent in something short, sweet. Just wanted to say hey and tell us about some of the books that he's reading. He wrote in and it says, "Yo, what up, Shortbox Nation? Just finished the podcast episode of Gene from Shortboxed." So last week's episode. It's always a treat when you guys get together for a pod. The books I'm checking out this week. I'm still on my DC kick and Night Terrors is working for me. Also, finally, started Something is Killing the Children. About damn time. It's been worth the wait. And last thing I picked up was Coda from Boom Studios. I'm trying to keep the stack of books short, but it's no easy task. Until next time, and thanks for all that you do. Chris Bruce Squid Jenks. Big shout outs to Chris. Thank you, Chris. Excited to hear that you have started Something's Killing the Children. We'll go ahead and take full credit on that, right, Ed? I feel like we've been pressuring everyone to check that out. It's like that's one of those.
Yes.
In hindsight, I wish I would have started the Shortbox Hall of Fame.
It's like our new saga.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. I feel like there is a Shortbox Hall of Fame books that do no wrong with us, right? It's been like Saga in them early years. I feel like recently it's like just whatever Daniel Ward Johnson is doing, that's like in the Hall of Fame. So Do a Powerbomb would be among it. And I feel like Killing the Children is like the new addition. I feel like we always bring it up, and that's such an easy recommendation. Glad that you're enjoying it, Chris. That's good to hear. I kind of want to check out this Night Terrors. All right, I feel like it's a little early for all of this like horror, twist on DC. They pick like the hot. I don't want to even think about being in a costume. Right now it's like 100 degrees. But I will say the covers for the various DC Night Terrors crossover event look really intriguing. Like it does look like some shit out of like a nightmare or something. Have you seen anything about it, Ed?
I've heard, but I haven't really looked. There's a couple things I'm kind of interested in, but it's one of those crossover things where I get like, all right, I can't. This is too much.
Yeah, it's like I'm just gonna wait, see like what collected editions come out, and read it that way. That way, I get like the best of or everything kind of organized for me.
There's like a Zatanna one I kind of want to check out because I think that character fits this situation. But yeah, there's I'll probably pick and choose once it's all the dust is settled.
Well said. Thanks for the email, Chris. Much appreciated. And to anyone listening, this is a great time for you guys to consider writing in because we're going to be recording our 400th episode in a couple of weeks, and we are looking for people to chime in via voicemail. You can send in a voicemail and have your voice heard on the pod, or you can send in a nice and short email like that, all right? Let's make it about the 400th, so tell us about your favorite episode of the podcast. If you want to hear any behind-the-scenes story, we'll take questions, or we'll just read about the comic books that you guys are enjoying. Once again, details to send a voicemail or write an email are all listed in the show notes of this episode. With that said, Ed, I think we're in a good position to go to our final segment of the show, which is our infamous champion season.
It's time for
Champion Season.
Champions.
You guys know what time it is. It's champion season. It's the part of the show where we highlight everything else that has consumed our free time, which includes the movies that we're watching, the TV series that we're addicted to, books, video games, and any other entertainment options that we'd personally recommend to friends like you. So this is our time to hype and promote maybe some reading and watching material. You know, maybe you've been looking for something to fill your free time with, and you need trusted opinions. Well, here it is for you. Ed, I'm going to toss it to you, man. What do you want to champ? Oh, actually, we talked about doing a little co-champion, a little topical co-champion at that, because you had brought up the topic of Invincible Season 2, you know, being announced. But also a part of that announcement was the Adam Eve Invincible special that is on Amazon Prime. It turned out you watched it. Turned out I watched it as well. Do you want to start with that? Is that fine?
Yeah, that works.
All right. So I guess spoiler warning for anyone that hasn't watched the Invincible Adam Eve prequel episode / hour-long special on Amazon Prime. Maybe skip maybe a minute or two from here if you haven't watched it and you don't want it spoiled. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
The first 20 minutes is like, I guess we should tell everyone what it's about, but it's essentially like the origin story of Samantha Wilkins, aka Adam Eve, in Invincible. So you learn her origin story, which is really fucking dark.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That was a really twisted, sad is a good word. So the first 20 minutes are the introduction to her and learning that she was a lab baby, a lab experiment.
She's basically like created to be a weapon.
Yeah,
like a living weapon for the government.
Put up for essentially not put up for adoption, but like given to
did go through the official process.
Given to her current parents, who more sadness to it, who had just lost a baby.
Essentially, he did like a baby swap. Like her parents, or I guess her adoptive parents, I think they were about to lose their child after birth, and he somehow switched it, and basically they adopted her. That kind of explains their relationship more if you've just watched the show. The relationship is very tumultuous. You get a better understanding of what she can do, which is like more of a Green Lantern type of thing without having to have a ring or any kind of object to channel the power.
She's kind of like a combination of Green Lantern because of like the constructs that she could build, but then she's got that firestorm element because she could read like elements and create like basically like the periodic table,
firestorm, or any of the nuclear she can see things at an atomic level. But it's really kind of seeing how she just didn't fit in because she didn't understand these powers she was having. She's making like molecule things out of Legos and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Is the first 20 minutes feels like your classic superhero origin story, you know, being an outcast because as a kid, because you're special, you know, obviously your parents don't know how to handle it. And she's like a young girl, right? So like there's that added pressure as well.
And once she has a friend, when she
loses a friend because of
the powers.
Her powers. About halfway in, I feel like it just ramped up because it went from being like, oh, this kind of reminds me of like Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse, finding his powers, that awkward phase. And it quickly became like some Akira John
Dude, I was
Wick
thinking Akira
style,
too. Yeah,
because you know the body dysmorphia.
It's gross, drippy.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah, you learn that she was the perfect lab test,
perfect weapon.
Her siblings were all just failures. A failure might be too hard or nice of a term, but as far as action goes, that it had a lot of action. I thought the choreography was
great.
Insane.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this much action.
And by the end, because at first I was like, oh, this is an interesting departure and standalone. You're going to give Adam Eve's origin an hour-long special. I thought it was a short at first. I was like, oh, a 20, 30 minute short.
It's like 55 minutes. It's like, damn.
it satisfied my craving for new Invincible content, and has also simultaneously got me insanely hyped for season 2.
Because you have the character stuff, but then you have the super violent stuff that we all come to love Invincible for.
And I love the juxtaposition at the end. Like they do shout out Mark, right? At the end of this special, they're like, where was Mark the whole
Duct
time?
tape, man, yeah.
And obviously, like, he's a kid too. Like he is like a young kid as well, and he's excited and like that juxtaposition of him excited and looking forward to having powers, maybe growing up to be like his dad, Omni-Man. And then you've got Eve like having such a hard time at it. I think they dropped this and told this story so that way I think going into the new season, you've got a little more empathy for her and her interactions with Mark.
And I don't know if they're going to do this, but it'd be kind of a neat thing to do, like before the new season starts, having like a character spotlights, like one shots,
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because in that opening sequence where the Guardians of the Globe are fighting the Lizard League, and they're smashing up the laboratory as the scientist is taking Adam Eve's mother out the back door. It got me thinking, seeing like all the different analog characters in the Guardians of the Globe. There's an abundance of characters to choose from to do, like maybe not even as long as a short, maybe like a 20-30 minute short.
For a guy, don't need no hour. Whatever that guy's name.
Yeah, whether it be about like, I feel like you could easily do one about the Immortal, or Black Samson, or Rexplode. Rexplode would be.
It was Black Samson who was after that one lizard lady.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can easily do little shorts or one-off
Monster Girl
specials.
Would be a good one
with Rexplode, Monster Girl, Duplicate, like all of them. Yeah, it was good. So highly recommend. Me and Ed are co-championing an Invincible Adam Eve special. Ed, you got another one for us?
The next one, which I was not expecting, is the Tale of the Titans miniseries they're doing. So basically, Starfire, Raven, Donna Troy, and Beast Boy are getting their own one-shots. And this is like I said, this is by Javier Rodriguez, who's one of my favorite artists.
This interior art is awesome.
He is like kind of my, like, if you're going to have a modern retro style, his style is perfect. His run, I think he did some Hawkeye fill-in stuff back in the day. And I know he's done mostly Marvel. I believe this is his first DC work, but his Defenders and Beyond Defenders, awesome stuff. And like I said, this is a fun story. So each of the members who don't have their own series already are kind of getting these little one-shot spotlights. Fun story. A character that's, it's a kind of a cheesecakey character that historically, not too much cheesecake here, not too much, sexualized things like back in the New 52 days with the character. But it's a fun story about her trying to, as in kind of the thing of the story is her basically getting set off by the whole alien princess thing. It's like, I'm princess to a kingdom that doesn't exist, and I'm an alien because I don't belong on Earth. So it's more of building that character of her trying to fit in with her new team and her new family. So she basically gets sent on a mission where I don't know what her race of people are called off the top of my head. It sounds like a spice, coriander, something like that. I don't know. Sounds like a spice. And,
the coriander tribe.
But she encounters she gets a distress, or they crash on Earth. So basically she helps them and kind of helps them on a moon colony. And it kind of parallels with these two sisters kind of run the colony. And so it parallels her backstory with her sister. So it's a cute, fun, one shot. I love Javier Rodriguez. Yeah. And each of the stories is going to have a different creative team, and it's like I said, it's like 4 issues. So.
Good stuff.
But yeah, it's 2 just came out this last week or maybe the week before. But yeah, definitely pick these up.
Good stuff. And Ed, if you like Javier Rodriguez, I want to say one of his most notable works. No, I know one of his most notable works is Batgirl Year One, because I've read that series, and it is a beautiful book.
Oh yeah.
And obviously he's done a lot of Daredevil and Amazing Spider-Man too. So good picks, man. All right, so for me, in addition to Invincible, Adam, Eve, I will also, I'm going to champion something from San Diego Comic-Con, another thing. The Spider-Man 2 trailer for the new game that's coming out on, when is it? I think October 20th is the date. It's sometime in October, but the new Spider-Man 2, Drew said it best. He tried to warn me, because I told him I hadn't seen it when I linked up with him this morning. He was like, bro, it's like a movie. It's like a movie trailer. And I'm like, all right, we always say that about, like, these game trailers. This one lives up to it. absolutely feels and looks like a movie trailer. If you have played any of the previous Spider-Man games, whether that's Spider-Man 1 for the PlayStation 4 or the Miles Morales, basically 1.5 game, then when you watch this trailer, you're going to feel like, oh, wow, this is the accumulation of all of these, story arcs and storylines you might have even forgotten about, but we're somewhat familiar with. And the amount of villains that are in this game. You got Venom, Kraven, the Lizard is also in this game as well, and they're promising a lot more. Mr. Negative as well. It's also supposed to have like the largest Marvel New York map in a video game too. So I mean, think about the hours you're going to waste just swinging. It's like you got this mission that is like 24 hours old, and you're just swinging. That's what I do at least. And the story looks cool too. You're gonna be able to apparently swap or switch between Peter Parker and Miles Morales to do different missions and do like different coverage of the city, which is pretty cool. It's like I don't have to pick between which Spider-Man I want to play. I get to play as both of them. The trailer looks awesome. I can't say anything more that most people probably aren't already thinking or hyped about when it comes to that game. The only thing I will say is it's still too far out. Like it comes out in October, and I feel like my PS5 is just sitting there collecting dust. I bought this thing, and there has not been any crazy big games for it, in my opinion. But Spider-Man, I think, is going to break the mold. And even if you haven't played the game, it's worth checking out the trailer just to be impressed by like, wow, a game could look this good, So Spider-Man 2 coming out later this year. Looking forward to it. So anyways, those are my champions this week. If any of those pique your interest, or if you got your own champions that you want to share with us, we're always looking for recommendations. I know we give the recommendations, but we're also looking for recommendations too. All right. So if you got a good TV series, a good movie, or a good comic book series that we should be reading, let us know. Write into the show at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com. It could be your submission for the 400. I did say that anyone that submits, something, a voicemail or email, would be automatically entered in a contest to win some comics. So let us know if you got something to champion. Besides that, that is the end of our show. Ed, how nice was it to have Ashley here?
It was awesome. It's awesome to see her again. I haven't seen her since the movie, since Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it's been about a month or two. If you had a main takeaway for this episode, what would it be?
Oh, man. I think my main takeaway is her microphone's nice enough to pick up that baby crying.
I like how you got meta with it. I thought you were going to say something like San Diego Comic-Con or Invincible. You're like, nah, Ashley's mic is like too good. Like it's picking up, her gain level is too high. That's funny. I got one. And mine is related to San Diego Comic-Con. The reason for these strikes, as I understand it, is that, so it started with the Writers Guild of America. And then just recently, SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, joined in on the strikes, and they're really just all petitioning for like things that make sense, fair pay, safer working conditions, better, residual checks, like things like that from these like multi-billion-dollar corporations. I know, like I won't regurgitate the whole story of Bob Iger and the things he said and how that pissed off a lot of people, but like greed is kind of like the center of the problem.
Well, it's like all these properties are corporate owned now, and that's like the big thing is like, how can we pay our workers the least amount and make the most money? It's just, and then unfortunately, and it's not all, and I've seen some people, but it's not just all like Tom Cruise's and, there's like working levels, in the industry. There's writers that don't make a ton of money. There's weird things about, the AI issue. Like say you're an extra, they pay you once. Your face, they own your face, and they can put it on whatever they want for the rest of your life.
Oh, I think that's one of the bargaining things that the opposing side was trying to negotiate. Was like, well, all right, well, we want to be able to use the likeness of background actors. What's that phrase? In perpetuity, perpetuity forever, and not pay them. You know what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that. I think the more you dig into it, the more. I think my point still stands at the center of it is like just greed. And looking at San Diego Comic-Con this year, it's like, man, this could have easily been avoidable. Yeah, but I understand that, sometimes these fights take a lot longer than you expect. And I'm sure it's going to just get way more interesting, way more challenging. But I think my main takeaway was that these strikes are happening for a just reason.
Of course. Yeah, it's like in the thing too, it's like
and the fact that I'm sorry to interrupt, but the fact that it affected You know, you see that, you're like, okay, it's going to affect like big movies, summer blockbusters. For it to have this impact on San Diego Comic-Con was definitely noticeable. You know, so it's like, well, what else is it affecting on a much larger scale?
Yeah, I know movies that are filming, stop production, everything just is ground to a halt. And like a lot of these companies, part of the negotiation things too is they don't disclose those numbers. They don't know how well they're doing. It's even for us, it's like we don't get real numbers from like Apple, you know? It's like hard to get real data to negotiate. Yeah. So they can say, oh, it was the best, the most viewed show to promote it, but then they don't give you the numbers, so I know that's a big thing is residuals, because that's how
pennies on the stream or pennies on the, not even like pennies, like, fractions of a penny.
Yeah, it's this type of work. It's like you'll work for a year and then you might be not working for 6 months, especially like writing and stuff. You could be working for a couple months and then the rest of the year you're not doing anything. So having those residuals so you can keep pursuing this job is fair, because they're for sure making money off of this. So it's just, I think that data needs to be disclosed. It's just strange that they can just hide that data. I don't think in any other line of work you can't really, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I can't hide my income from, the IRS or hide what I'm making. It's bad. And it basically seems like they just want to try to starve them out until they come up with a deal that's not really that great. But it seems like a pretty united front. Like I said, I'm always, as someone who does art and things like that, I'm always in the side of the workers in these situations. So
well said. I feel like Ashley probably could have said all of that in a much quicker and quirkier and funnier line. But, that's what I learned. And hopefully you guys picked up something in this episode too. Like I said, if you guys want to chime in to the conversation about any announcements that were made or anything else, we invite you to do so. But that's the episode we got for you this week, Shortbox Nation. My outro is going to play. I'm going to share some more announcements on what you can expect next week. But as far as me and Ed, what we got to do here, we're good to go. There you have it, Shortbox Nation. Our part of the deal is done. We delivered a pretty good episode, if I would say so myself. At the very least, it was decent, but I think it was much better than that. If you enjoyed what we had to offer, do us a favor, all right? Just a small favor. Please share this episode with a friend. Or, do us one better. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Spotify is probably the quickest way to leave a rating and review. You just click the stars. Apple Podcasts, I do admit, you got to write a review, but even that doesn't take much time. And we need someone to hype us up, all right? We're trying to reach a wider audience. We're trying to get more people on board with the Shortbox. So it would mean a lot to us if you did so. Next week, you can expect a different kind of episode. We're trying something a little new, all right? We'll be hosting an MCU trivia contest this Saturday afternoon. I think I have it scheduled for 1 p.m. Eastern time. We've already posted about it on our Patreon and our Instagram, and it'll be a live virtual thing that we're trying out, so anyone technically could join. It's open to everyone, especially if you're someone that can say you've watched every MCU film in order, both chronological and release. Or if you can name every Stan Lee cameo, then you are more than welcome to compete with us and everyone else this weekend in an MCU-themed trivia. That's going to be Saturday, I think that is the 29th at 1 p.m. All right, July 29th, 1 p.m. I'll drop a link to that MCU trivia in the show notes, but your best bet is to stay tuned to our Instagram feed, especially on Saturday. Or you could just join our Patreon community. That's probably your best option, all right? Enough stalling. It's time to join the Patreon community, especially if you're someone that stays till the end of the show, all right? You are the people we're targeting. You're the dedicated, diehard Shortbox fans. So join the Patreon community at patreon.com/theshortbox so you can get first dibs and early heads up on stuff like this. You'll be in the loop before anyone else. You'll also get early access to new episodes and bonus episodes you won't hear on the main feed. I promise you, it's worth it, all right? Check it out, patreon.com/theshortbox. In the meantime, though, take care of yourselves. I also want you to find time to go read your comic books and continue to make mine and yours Shortbox. I'll catch you next week. Peace.